Hello, everybody. Joining us today, the writers and directors of the new Screenbox original, we have Adrian and we have Jason. So,
Jason.
Jason, sorry, I don't know why I said
Okay.
James.
No worries.
It's all good. So you guys did the new Screenbox movie, Shifted, which is super duper cool. I enjoyed it a lot. So we're gonna, go over here and be shifted together. So I guess I usually like to, kind of start right off the bat with our guests on here. I always like to kind of bring it back to the very beginning. So whoever wants to start first, I always like to say, like, where did filming, kind of start with you? Was it at an early age? Was it, later in life? And you're like, oh, this is something I want to do forever. So I'll let you guys go however you want to go.
Cool. Jay, you want to start?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, God, this is going to be the longest
No,
story ever.
Hey,
Oh,
keep it
he
short.
That's
loves the
fine.
sound of his own voice.
It's true, I do.
No worries, no worries.
That's Adrian's
I love
way
you,
of,
Jay. I love you.
It's Adrian's way of keeping it short.
No.
Um, I probably have a less interesting story than Adrian, but growing up, I kind of came from like a early childhood divorce situation.
Oh,
Parents got divorced when I was pretty young, and I watched movies all the time. Like that was everything that I did. As soon as I could, when my friends had vehicles, we would drive into the city and watch everything we could on the big screen or go to the drive-in. And as soon as I could ride my own motorcycle, I was out going to the movies all the time myself. All through high school, I wanted to write. And so I would, kind of come up with concepts and things like that. And uh, when I moved to Kitchener-Waterloo, where we live now, I wrote with the guy that plays William Winter
okay.
in Shifted. We wrote together our first attempt at a feature film. And it was back in like 2007, 8 that we really tried. No shorts. We just went right for the biggest, most ambitious project we could think of.
Oh yeah.
And it was like film school for us. It was um, we'd never completed it. We completed maybe 75%, but we had all the pains and joys that you go through making an independent film. We had actors leave midway through filming. We had all kinds of hilarious problems, and kind of at the end, I kind of hated making movies for a while. So I kind of got away from it and stepped away for a little while, and then my job that I have 9 to 5 kind of really allowed me to take a lot of vacation and help other people with their projects. So I started getting
Nice.
involved with other people's film projects in the region, and then once upon a time, I went to work on as an assistant director for who was one of our DOPs actually for Shifted, Michael Malco. And
Oh, nice.
we went out and shot a short film out in the wintertime, and it was a blast. And this is where I met Adrian for the first time.
Oh wow.
And yeah, the rest is kind of history from there, but we can get into it a little bit more. But really, for me, it was a movie-loving kid who, kind of always dreamed of getting into this kind of area, this focus area. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Adrian?
Yeah, so I actually came to film through theater. So I grew up in South Africa, and when in South Africa, it's sort of a very English schooling system. So there's a lot of theater and drama and that kind of thing, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. So I spent a lot of time directing plays in school and writing plays, and I didn't even know that working on film and working in the movies was a possibility. And I was actually filling out my application for university, and I was going to fill out engineer because I wasn't really sure. So I was like, I'm going to be an engineer.
Yeah, why not?
As I was looking down the page of all the courses that they had, there I saw film production, and I was like,
Wait a minute.
100%. I just changed what I was going to apply for, and I just applied it, and I just ticked, film production. And then I
Yeah.
went to school, and then after that, after university, got got working on sets as a production assistant, and then as a second camera assistant. And then I met my wife, and I moved to a town where there is no film industry. So, the bigger sets, we're a bit far away from Toronto, so that working on set was not really a possibility. And at that stage, I had decided, probably like 4 or 5 years before that, decided to start writing.
Okay.
I was standing on a set with about 100 people running around. Everybody was doing different things. And I was the C camera assistant. So I was just sort of standing next to the C camera, waiting to be told where the C camera was going to go and what was going to happen. And I realized in a single moment that every single person on the set was running around because of what one person in their robe had written one morning with a coffee, And I was like, that's the person with the power.
Yeah.
That's where the magic starts, is on the page. And right after that, I just started writing, and I'd always been interested in writing, and I'd always loved writing plays and that kind of thing. So I started writing, and then when I found myself here in Kitchener-Waterloo with no real discernible film industry, I was like, well, let's shoot a movie. Oh, yeah. So I got a bank loan, bought some equipment, and then shot a movie. And I wouldn't have been able to pay back the bank loan unless, my mum died and left me some money. Otherwise, I mean, thanks, Mum. No. I mean, listen. She could have given me the money. Yeah, if she could have given me the money, that's what she would have wanted me to do.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's cool. I mean, Adrian, he could tell stories about being on big sets. Like, he's got that experience, which is really cool. We were watching, we recently went on a writer's retreat, and one of the movies, we just, amongst, drinking scotch and, having a sauna and doing an ice plunge, and writing nonstop, we watch movies. And so we threw on, one of the movies you were on was Doomsday. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I think so. Yeah.
Kind of like a zombie.
Yeah.
Well, it's post-apocalyptic sort of.
Yeah.
Virus breaks out
in Scotland.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun listening to him as we're watching the movie. Tell stories about and that guy fell and landed right on his head 5 feet from me. And
because you're watching the stunt guys do their thing, right?
Yeah.
So you set up all the cameras. This guy's on a motorcycle. He's got to crash into something, and he's got to fall. His job is to fall in a safe way. And I saw him go through the air, and he was he wanted to tuck his head, but then he was maybe I should. So he was in the air. He didn't know exactly what to do with his body, and he landed right on his head. Luckily, the helmet, he had the shoulder pads and the helmet, because if he didn't, he would have broken his neck for sure.
Yeah, he would have been gone.
And I was honestly, I was about 5 feet away from the guy, and I was just
oh. Oh my God, I would have been freaking out.
And you're watching him, you don't know if he's going to get up again, and then he stands up, and then the director's like, let's go again.
Oh my God, no,
Yeah.
I'm done after that.
So it's fun. I mean, we work at a pretty indie level, but he's had the experience to see what it's like in the
we totally dream of reaching those, that level where we have a stunt department. I mean, that's the dream, right? To be able to.
We did some stunts.
We did a stunt.
Yeah.
Shifted. We did a couple stunts there, so we did have some. We did have some people helping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I fully enjoyed Shifted. I thought it was great. And with you saying that you come from a play background, I can see it a lot in how this movie moves. It literally feels like a play. It does. It's so good, and how the characters are fleshed out, and within the amount of time that the movie has to do it, because there's so many characters in this one little area, but the world feels huge, and you guys do such a great job of keeping everything so isolated, but also making it feel so big. And there's a lot of characters that I really enjoyed, and I was really sad when things started happening to him.
Yeah, there are some goodies, man.
It's tough. Yeah. I will say we've been very lucky. We once we kind of launched Shifted, once it was ready to go, we kind of had a little bit of a festival run, and we won a bunch of awards, but a couple awards that we won from multiple festivals was a best ensemble cast.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say it feels right, because we had like our lead characters. There's, I think, 8. It's definitely 7. Definitely 7.
Yeah.
Definitely 7. And then the guy that plays Zeke, the guy that's you see him kind of hanging from his neck at the beginning of the movie, and then you see
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, it's your film. You can go as many spoilers as you want.
Fair enough. But so he was a little bit more of a day player, but he kind of counts as our lead. But I mean, everybody brings their own strengths to the whole production, and they were all amazing to work with.
It is one of the most beautiful things to write a line of dialogue, and in your mind you feel you think you know exactly what it's going to sound like, and somebody brings something to the table, an actor brings something to the table, and it blows your mind. You can't even believe, they just deliver this, and you're like, oh, you didn't even hear it that way with the cadence, with the tone, with the way that they do it. You're like, it takes it from a 2D, to a 3D believable human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. The value of a good actor is it's pretty important, man.
Yeah. And this film really needs it too, for like how, and I want to say this is a very ambitious film with what you guys were doing, and for it being so low budget too. What was the price tag on this? Like, how much you guys put into it?
All said and done.
Yeah, we're probably in the neighborhood, maybe just shy of 100 Canadian.
Oh wow!
About 75. Now we paid our actors to be here, which was a big deal for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Yeah, you guys did a great job, like with lighting, with how everything feels, and I love snow in a movie, especially when there's blood, just because of how much it makes it pop. It's so great. I don't know. This is something like in movies and in games. If this is a snow area, I'm all for it. So awesome. I was in this as soon as I saw the trailer and I saw snow. I was like, this movie. This is for me.
Nice. Lovely.
We have a local festival in Toronto called Blood in the Snow, and we were like,
you
want this movie. Come on.
We made a movie with blood in the snow, so come on now.
Yeah, exactly. Let us be like the headliner for it. Come on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you both, I guess, James, we can start with you. What are your inspirations with filmmaking? Is there somebody that you look up to, or are you kind of just like you pull from everything?
I will say Jason, by the way. Sorry to correct. But yeah, I'll tell you one of my weird inspirations, and he's not really a horror guy, but I love Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so he's definitely an all-rounder.
Yeah, I mean, I loved his movies growing up, and I loved kind of his vibe. He makes movies with his friends. He makes movies that he kind of wants to make. He tells the stories that he wants to make, and then, he kind of got in early days into podcasting as well, which is something that we've done and I've had a lot of fun with. So for me, he's always felt like, even though he says he's not, he's always had that indie feel, making movies that are a little outside the norm. So I've really enjoyed him. Storytelling, I love Stephen King. I've read a lot of Stephen King books growing up. I faithfully watch a lot of the adaptations and things like that. And so that's really it for me. But
yeah, I would agree with Jay with those influences. Someone that I love is Denis Villeneuve.
Okay, I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, so he is Dune. He did Dune. Dune, and he did the new Blade Runner. And I love there's a smaller movie he made with Jake Gyllenhaal called Enemy. And it's great. I love it when I suppose there's just a little more going on in the screen than you realize. Like you can enjoy it on multiple levels. You can enjoy it from a purely aesthetic. When you're just watching the movie, you just enjoy the movie as it is. Yeah. But there is stuff to be mined if you want to.
Yeah.
So
I'll say locally, just for funsies, there's another team that's kind of close to our area this team of horror film producers called Black Fawn Films.
Yeah.
And these guys started maybe a little bit before us, but their cadence of filmmaking, as a group, they would make one after the next, and I think they really they got a deal to make a number of movies, and these guys just knock it out of the park. They take a pretty basic horror concept and execute it really, really well. And I think we've been watching them grow as well, and they've kind of been a bit of a guiding light for us. Yeah. No, but you should your viewers should check out Black Fawn Films. They're a cool Canadian company, and they make great horror flicks.
Now, I'll add that to the list for sure.
Yeah. We do often, we will turn our attention. John Carpenter is someone that we will turn to a lot. Yeah. I think we watched The Thing again.
Yeah.
Oh man, you can't go wrong with that film.
That's right.
You just can't.
That's right. It's just that is like, honestly, when we with Shifted, we looked at The Thing. It was part of our thinking.
Yeah, and I thought you guys were pulling from that. And there's another thing, there are a lot of people saying The Living Dead too, which I can see a lot of that. So
yeah,
there's a lot of really cool things that you've done in this film. Like I said, with lighting or the character designs, but also making everything outside of this house that they're in feel so scary. Just everything, not even just like what's walking out there, but just the atmosphere. It's like it's tainted. The whole thing, and I love that. I'm a huge fan of like outer space horror, and this for some reason gave me a lot of that feel of 100%. Like something was just there.
Because you're trapped, right?
Yeah, right. We tried to grab that snowy wind, when everything is desolate and there's the windy, sleety snow coming across, and it's just when you watch it, you're like, that would be terrible just to be in. Forget the monsters,
Yeah, and it adds to the outside being so threatening.
Right.
Like this, we had to do it with snow. Like you couldn't look, even though if they were monsters, if you looked outside and it was sunny and green, it wouldn't work, because you needed all the elements to work together to create this threatening atmosphere outside of the house.
Right.
So it just had to be snowing,
Yeah. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you was, how long was shooting? Because I imagine you had to time this right with everything,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we shot for we had issues, which I'm sure every indie team has. But I think the first year we shot over like 11 to 14 days.
Okay.
We shot over the span of 2 weeks, and we got quite a bit. But we ran into some issues with we were using 2 different cameras, so we could talk about that a little bit. But we also didn't love how our monsters turned out in year 1. And Adrian can talk about that a little bit. So we shot, and we knew we would have to come back at a second period of time to do some pickup shots and things like that. But as we put the footage together and whatnot, we made a more firm decision. You know what? We want to come back year 2. We want to we got together with some special effects makeup folks, and we built masks. We built monster mask molds, and completely changed the monster headgear. And so we knew we wanted to come back. So year 2, I think we did maybe another 5 days or something. And then, we actually came back year 3, and just finished up some stuff.
Just to grab a little bit of pickup shots, because we
needed that first opening sequence with the news reporter. We shot that in year 3 because we really wanted. There's a couple things we wanted for our trailer, even where we knew we wanted, somebody to say there's monsters outside, right? And so we added some extra things. So we shot over 3
totaling probably about 18, 19 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Shot over 3 years. There's
Yeah.
actually some scenes in the movie that have
Pieces
videos from 3 different years in it.
Oh, wow. That must have been a nightmare putting together, though.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It was. And the thing is, we're very lucky that we had a good color correction human being who was able to make the cameras all match so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why did you use 2 different cameras? Was it just for backup, just in case?
No,
it's
what we had.
It's what we had.
Yeah.
And it was a mistake. We should have just gone with one camera, done a single system, because we also it was a micro four. One of the cameras was micro four thirds, and one of the cameras was full frame.
Oh,
So we're always putting the full frame camera on the wider, because then you don't notice the depth of field so much. So we got the wider lens for the full frame, and then we're jumping in tighter so that we can still have that depth that we like with the micro four thirds camera. But it was still. The problem is that the lighting. The one camera was a very good low light camera. The other camera was not a good low light camera. And so when you're lighting for the 2 camera systems, it just messed things up. And that was part of the reason we had to come back in year 2, was because of some of the scenes we looked at and we were like, these are unusable. One of the cameras is unusable. And that was the camera that was getting all the coverage.
Oh, man.
So that said, it was a weird blessing in disguise, because we came back to shoot some reshoots, and the reshoots were, I don't know, somehow
made the scenes better.
Year 1 was amazing. We had some great performances, but year 2, everybody amped up their game a little bit more. We got some great moments out of our folks, so it was pretty great.
And you shoot a scene, you cut the scene together, you hate the scene, you come back and reshoot the scene. Scene's amazing. You love the scene. It makes you see the value of reshooting.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that before, where there was a scene that just didn't work. The way that it was cut, the way that it was performed, all the things. And we came back and redid it, refocused. So the cameras were going in different places. The actors were doing basically the same thing. But after living with the character for like a year and then a little bit of practice, they get so much better.
Yeah.
And their delivery was like amazing. And the cameras now were in a different place. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Our actress who plays Hannah in the movie, this was her first feature. And year 1, she was awesome. But year 2, she brought it. She was wild. It was amazing performance.
And it is indie film. There is sort of this. There's a strange thing where you need to get amateur actors to be able to act, because they're not professionals. But all day long we are watching professionals on TV, and they are amateur actors are doing their level best. So it does take a little bit of a little bit more time just to be able to get them to that space where they're delivering the performance that they need to deliver.
Yeah. And I can say that they all feel professional. Even you saying that they brought their A game, they really did. And I love this film. I've watched it with the screener we got. I watched it twice, and now that it's on Screenbox, which I want to talk to you both about that as well. Is I watched it again today, and I love it.
What did you think about Adrian's performance?
You remember me in it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. This is a weird thing too. Is everybody gets so put off when I say this sometimes, but I consider this film a comfort film. Does that make you guys feel weird at all? Because when I say that about people's films, they're like, "What do you mean? People are dying. This is like such a sad story." I'm like, "No, it's a comfort film. The snow, man. I'm telling you, if there's snow in the film, like I love it to death."
Okay, so but do explain what you mean by comfort film. Is it comfortable just for you? Like it makes you feel good?
Yeah, I mean, it's like something I can put on the background, and like I can jump in and out if I'm doing something, and around the house, I can have it on.
My wife
I
watches
love this.
Legally Blonde 3 times a week. That's her comfort food.
Yeah, that would be considered a comfort film. Yeah, for sure.
No, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. So what you guys did is great, and I love it. So going back to Screenbox, how did this kind of come about? Was it because you guys were in the festival circuit and they picked you up?
Basically, we were in the festival circuit, and we were just approached by some sales agents. And so one of the sales agents that approached us said, let me take the movie for what was it originally, a year, 6 months?
It was originally a year, and that's pretty standard, like people will reach out and say, I'd like to rep your movie, but I need it for a year.
Exclusively for a year. And we were still in the middle of the festival circuit thing. We were still busy going to festivals and all that jazz. So we said, well, a year is a long time because we don't even know, we don't know anything. And so he was like, well, just give me 1 month. And if I can do anything, I'll be able to do it in 1 month. So he took the movie, and then he put us in touch with Cinedigm. And we had a few offers on the table, but Screambox, Bloody Disgusting, and Cinedigm, we were so excited to be involved with this grouping of, organizations. We were like, do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screenbox has been great with the amount of films that they've been picking up, whether it's like foreign or local or semi-local, like Canadian films, like you guys are, is astonishing. And the love and care that they give all their titles, and how much they make them shine just by being a film, and letting people see it early, like us over here on the show. We would do a lot of coverage for Screenbox, so I was really happy that we were able to grab this. Because when they sent me the stills over, and then I saw the trailer, I was like, this movie is going places.
Oh, come on. Listen, next time I make a movie, we're coming on your podcast, because I feel great right now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, just looking at the still of the cover with the creature coming out of the mouth is just like, oh my God, I love it. It's everything that I love. So for the effects, was everything practical, or did you have to mix in a little bit of CG to make it work?
Yeah. We went in thinking that everything would be practical, but ultimately things didn't quite look or work out the way that we wanted them to, and so we ended up supplementing with 3D and adding 3D things.
Yeah, you would see things like I'm thinking of. When we won't spoil it too much, but when you first start to see the creature coming out of the person's neck, there is practical there. There's a practical makeup and a bump and these little things, but intermixed with it, if you look close, you'll see like there's like a spine inside there that's and so that's some overlay. And we did use the creature. That's definitely a 3D creature.
Yeah.
When you see it at the end, kind of close to the end.
We were originally going to do stop motion for that.
Oh my God! You guys would have won me over even more if you did that.
So the creature.
Sorry, we wanted to, but we ran out of time, and then the actual like prosthetic creature that we had.
We did use it.
We did use it, but like we definitely it didn't. Yeah. It didn't look quite right. So that creature that jumps on Frankie's head, that was that would have
been so
half
cool.
Of it was practical.
Half of it was practical.
Half of it was 3D.
Yeah.
But you guys definitely did a very well mix. Like obviously over here, I'm a huge fan of practical, but CG definitely has its place to enhance things.
Yeah.
And you guys were using it completely smart. You weren't like, okay, we're gonna ditch everything and just go all CG, because sometimes it can just look a little off. But I couldn't really tell if you were doing digital enhancements or not at first, and then I watched it again. I was like, oh, now I see it, since I was seeing it, but it wasn't a bad thing. Like it really helped, push things a little bit further.
I will say we wanted to do practical. Yeah. So there is one scene where somebody gets stabbed in the eye.
Yeah.
And so like I tried, because I would do it. We would shoot the visual effect in the basement, and then I would composite that over top of the footage that we had. So I tried taking a crab leg and stabbing it into an egg.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. Wow.
Yeah, because the egg kind of looks like the eyeball, and tried to, but ultimately we try, but then when it's time to now, you got to get over the line, over the finish line.
Yeah.
And so then you end up adding 3D elements anyway.
Well, next time you now you know what to do next time, and I'm excited. So yeah, I hope everybody gets a chance to really watch this, and our review for this will be coming out. I think after this interview goes out, because I always like to kind of do the interviews before our reviews, so people can get to know the creators of the films and whatnot. So how was it filming isolated? Because this is in one area, right? Like you did it all in one house. Was everybody like going at each other like, oh my god, I just want to get out of this damn house, or was everybody really cool about it?
I will say it was pretty great. Year one was really special. I think we did go to a couple other houses. We did, like, there was a couple other spots.
There was one other place.
Place, yeah. But the one great thing was, and Adrian had at the time 2 young daughters, and so we actually filmed in Adrian's house. So you can get a good, whoever's thinking about casing the joint can give it a real good understanding of
the layout. Yeah. The door's open.
The door's open. Come on in. But it was really great. Adrian's wife took the girls for the 2-week window and stayed at in-laws. So we actually had a number of cast members that were living here in the house.
Oh wow.
Because they came quite a ways away, so they would be like, "Well, can we just stay?" And you was like, "Yes, of course you can just stay."
You got this room.
You're on the pull-out couch. You're on the couch. So everybody was kind of isolated and together. Yeah.
It was pretty magical.
But nobody bashed heads. There wasn't any tension. People actually made friends, and I believe are like lifelong friends. Yeah, they like still talk to each other, and they love each other to pieces.
There was one. Anyways, I won't go into too much, but there was definitely one evening where we got finished. We had some wine, and Zach, who plays Frankie, and Victoria, who plays Becca. Man, they started singing Broadway show tunes, and they were doing impressions of people.
Yeah,
and man, they were going so long and hard, and we all had to be like, okay, we're bowing out, and those guys were just giggling all night. It was great. Yeah, good time.
Wow, that's good. I'm glad, because over, especially with COVID and everything, there's been a lot of stories of people having to bunk together, and sometimes there's some really bad horror stories that go on because people get a little too in their own head and whatnot. But there's a lot of really good, heartwarming stories like the ones you're saying right now. Everybody made a lot of friends, so that's good. I want to see everybody in more films, and hopefully they'll be paired together and doing films together. That's what I'm always thankful for.
We came back year 3. We were in the middle of COVID, and so when we came back, we had to be really, really careful. Like everybody.
Yeah, and you had to ask really nicely, because you don't know. You're saying, hey, let's all get together in a house together, and you don't know what people are going to say.
Yeah.
If they're going to say, I'm not interested in that in any way.
Yeah.
So you're just like,
please. And we laid out what we would do.
This is what we're going to do.
And we did pretty well. Like, all crew, everybody really masked up. Masks were down during takes.
Yeah.
We had a younger guy who was running around cleaning everything. He'd like pick up the pop can, wipe the table down, put the pop can down, all that kind of stuff. And
aren't we glad that is done?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. I am. I'm so happy for theaters to be open and people able to go and spend time with each other now, and for more opportunities for more films to be made now. I mean, there was a lot being made during the pandemic because no one had anything to do. They're like, we're just going to go out and make a film. And yours was an outcome. You obviously had to partake in it a little bit. So congrats on the both of you for making something very beautiful. Seriously.
Getting to release the film after things had started to reopen. Like, we had our premiere. We got to sit in a theater with people who were watching the film for the first time. We had our own private screenings in our hometown. We sold out a pretty big theater twice, and it was wild. Like, watching the movie with a full packed theater. I think the first night was completely packed, and the second night had like the first row had empty seats. But like so many of the cast actually saw the movie for the very first time on the big screen, which was why, because we didn't send screeners to people. It was awesome. It was a wild experience.
That's how movies are meant to be watched.
That's right.
You have to have an audience.
That's right. Watching it together, group of people, big dark room, very special.
Yeah.
And you know what? The thing that we're working against the most, the thing that we need to overcome the most, is like we just want to be able to do it faster.
Yeah.
We want to be able to make like a movie every year and a half.
Wow, that's ambitious. I think you can do it. I think you can do it.
Yeah, the thing is, it depends on the size of the movie. It depends on how you plan things and how you shape things, and it depends on how hard you're willing to work. But that would be the dream come true.
Starts with the scripts, though.
Starts on the page, 100%. He opens his Guinness.
I would love to see more in this universe of something like 10 years down the line, something even before when everything started happening. I want to see a shifted universe.
Well, I'll tell you,
we want to do that too. That is what we're trying. We want to do that.
So I'll tell you a couple things. Number one, we have written the sequel.
Oh, thank you.
So we actually...
That was a question I was going to ask.
Yeah. And now we have some bad news, though.
We're starting to tell...
There's no snow.
There's no snow in number 2.
Hey, it's okay. I had the first one in snow. That's fine. It'll pass.
We've let a couple people know. The sequel, originally it was going to be a trilogy.
Oh, wow.
But that was kind of the idea that we had. Like
in the beginning, when we were building the first story, we're like, this would make a cool trilogy.
Yeah, because even when you watch the first one, and even when we filmed the first one, we had an idea of what is the lore, right? So we understood what the monsters are, how they work, where they came from. We don't really tell anybody. There is a couple hints in the movie of what they might be. But when we wrote the sequel, we decided to smash what we thought would be number 2 and number 3 into one kind of action-packed sequel. And it kicks off like a couple months later, sort of.
Okay.
Winter is chasing, he's Derek, spoilers, and they're headed to find Seth, who...
Yes, I was itching for that so bad. I was like...
Totally, 100%. It's awesome. And the concept is that Seth has kind of taken over this community of people. He's got like a militia. He kind of takes care of a group of people in a facility, and we're headed their way to find out what's going on.
We have some really interesting character turns through the movie, where characters who you think are a certain way, they are that way, but you see another side of them, and it makes you think about them a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So like with Seth, like with Derek, like with Winter, you think you know them, then you find out a little bit more about them, and it just makes them more of a complex individual.
Yeah. And then, people are going to get to watch this soon enough. But I did direct a small short film recently. It is a lovely little short film. It is not horror at all.
It's a little romance.
It's a little romance, but it is a shifted story, and you get to meet how Winter met his wife that dies in Shifted. So
wow, I'm excited.
Yeah, so that'll
it's romance. It's full.
That's fine. Anything with this universe, I'm all for.
It's a cute little story, and it'll probably come out in the summertime.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
we are excited to expand the universe.
Totally.
The mythology behind the monsters we love and we enjoy, and where they come from.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild. It's a bit of a left field. It comes out of left field a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
it's definitely different from
anything that's ever been done before.
Now I'm very intrigued. Intrigued. I need this in my eyeballs right now.
All right, well, just hang tight. We want to make. We're very excited.
Yeah.
So are you mainly going to be focusing? I know you say you're doing a short form that's a short film that's like romance, but do you want to cater more for the horror audience, or do you want to stay really broad with the company that you guys have?
I think for us, it's more, we really enjoy world building. We really enjoy storytelling. So it doesn't necessarily have to be horror, but the next few that we've written definitely have a horror thriller-ish kind of vibe.
Horror thriller, I suppose, is where we land up, because you watch Shifted. It's not your traditional horror.
No,
it's sort of a thriller with a few horrific sort of elements intermingled in it.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's kind of where we live. We do kind of live in this strange sort of subgenre, the mixture of some subgenres, putting them together. Because it's, I suppose, the thing that we make has to be interesting to us.
for sure.
And if we've seen it too many times before, the spice that we like to add into it is pulling from other genres,
Yeah. We've got one that we finished that we're kind of trying to put the finishing touches on script wise, not we haven't started production, but it's kind of like a action horror comedy. Sort of.
Yeah.
Maybe not a comedy. Maybe more action horror with sprinkles of comedy.
Yeah.
But it's pretty exciting too, like a vampire story.
Yeah. I love vampires. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. You're doing everything I love. Snow, vampires. Oh my God, let's go.
It's like a barnyard brawl between some mercenaries and some vampires. But we're actually on the team of the vampires. We're Team Vampire.
Yeah.
So we look at the vampires in kind of a different light.
Oh, nice. I'm very excited for the future of everything that the both of you are doing. And Shifted is so good, and I'm happy that it found a home at Screenbox, because, like I said, they're doing such amazing work over there with highlighting such amazing films and films that people wouldn't even know existed.
That's it.
That's right.
And I've been
they're really giving the opportunity for some smaller teams to get their work out there, and it's perfect, because we're just not at the stage yet where you would see our film across the country in theaters. So we need to find a home that will pump it up a little bit and get it in front of people's eyeballs. And the great thing about kind of the horror community is people are looking for that genre, right? So that's why Screenbox exists. It's why other horror platforms exist specifically, and so people go there and they're looking for something that's a little bit out of the norm, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to pop up on some of their other feeds.
It is a very tight-knit community of people who just absolutely love it.
Yes,
like
we're
you.
Super supportive.
That's right.
We be as supportive as we possibly can. I've been a horror hound for almost my whole life, and I'm always discovering new things. And this was a film that I knew going into I was going to love, but coming out of it, I love it even more. And I'm probably going to be watching it again tonight with my fiance. She hasn't seen it yet, and I'm very, very excited for her to see that. Also, my co-host Dean, he's watched it too, and he enjoyed it. Sad that you couldn't make it here today, but I'm excited to have you both on to talk about further films or anything, or to dissect films that you haven't made. We always invite guests that we have on to kind of talk about films that they love, and kind of just talk about them in a broader sense. So this was absolutely fun. I have to thank both of you for coming on and taking the time out of your day to talk about a film that I love.
Thank you very much.
We love it. Thank you so much for having us. Now, listen, do you make films? Are you a filmmaker?
No, I have ideas in my head, though, what I want to do. Just not enough time in the day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Life is real.
Life is real. It's tough, man. But write those down. Write those ideas down.
Oh yeah, I have an idea that I want to do that would be within the podcast. It was a very ambitious thing. I guess I can talk about it right here. I've talked about it multiple times.
Awesome.
But I'm sort of working on it, sort of on the background. As it was I don't know if you guys see the movie Host that was on Shudder that came out during the pandemic. It was filmed all through Zoom and everything. I had an idea of doing something like that, but it would be in every podcast episode, something different would happen. And for guests that came on, it would infect their world. So if they were, like a content creator, it would go into like their posts. It'd just be like something in the background kind of going on, and it would build up and build up. And I had a friend that was going to come on, and I was going to put him in during a recording or something like that, just in the middle of it, for him to mess things up. And then it would start bleeding into the real world, and he would start showing up in a space over here. And then eventually something would happen. But it's very ambitious.
Who knows if we've been infected and what might end up in our future work.
That's right.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yep, sorry, you guys are screwed. You're screwed.
Yeah. But listen, be determined, make the thing.
Hell yeah. I'm trying. I'm in talks with a couple of people that can help me out, so I'm excited for it, but there's a lot of other things that are happening too with the podcast. I'm starting to do live movie hostings at local cinemas over here with some filmmakers. That's going to be super duper cool. So if you're ever in the woods, you want to show off Shifted, I would be so happy to host you guys.
Very cool. Yeah,
so
man.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Yep, and Jason, I don't know why I kept saying James the whole time. Okay. I have it written down right here, too.
Totally fine.
And Adrian,
he looks like a James.
Yeah. You guys have been amazing, and congrats on everything that you're doing and landing on Screenbox, and I hope they pick up all the future stuff that you guys are doing, because they've been doing that with a lot of other filmmakers, but picking up their short films that they have done, like The Outwaters. They have all the short films that were companions with that.
They won't want my short film. I don't think.
Absolutely.
Oh, come on. No. If you tell them, it's horror, don't worry, it's horror.
Yeah.
But I'm excited
for the future. Just like a little cutscene in between the movie.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day. Love to have you both on again. It was a blast. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dustin.
Yeah, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. And thank you, Screenbox, for hooking this up. Everybody, go watch Shifted right now. All right, catch you guys on the next one.
Bye now.
Jason.